meeting of the trustees of Lamesa Independent School District is now in order. It is 6 o'clock on January 15th, 2026. A quorum is present with all board members present. This meeting has been duly called and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551. Mr. Hughes, would you please lead us in prayer?
Let us pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day and just living in a country where we can come together and make decisions about our own community. And Lord, it's just so wonderful that to go without fear of persecution and that we're able to make these decisions for our kids and everyone in our community. And we just ask that you would come and guide and direct this meeting, and all the decisions here would glorify you. Amen.
Amen. Has anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, ma'am. Carter Shelton. She'll be talking about superintendent report.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me speak this evening. I had the accidental opportunity of meeting Dr. Avey in a parking lot. But I wanted to come tonight to be able to welcome her to Lamesa. We're excited to have her here and her family, and I enjoyed the brief meeting that we had in the parking lot. It was very pleasant, but I wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity publicly to welcome her here to Lamesa.
Thank you.
Student.
This way we'll
That's what you get for going outside.
Was it a bad one, Carter?
Yeah.
It was a damn good one.
And we have a student spotlight, and so we will allow Ms. Griffin to.
Yes, I'm actually just going to introduce the sponsor. You guys actually heard about this young lady at the last meeting, and we knew that we had to bring you to her as such a great feat. So I'm going to introduce Katie Crutcher, who was our sponsor for this event, and she'll share with you our spotlight today.
Hi guys. I'd like to say I'm nervous to be up here, but y'all know that I'm not. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you. I know it is Board Appreciation Week, and we appreciate everything that you guys do for us. Which one of my favorite things is thank y'all for giving us the opportunity to do UIL, because it was such a big part of my life, and I'm grateful that I get to pass that on to my students. I'm going to try to not get emotional, especially with this one. So, I got a speech for you, Annalisa, just a little one, okay? So I'll never forget the day that little Annalisa Princesa Garza walked into my room. She loved reading for the class and helping others, and always knew that she would accomplish great things. When she tried out for oral reading in 3rd grade, I was shocked at how much she reminded me of myself at that age, being dramatic and loving to tell stories. What I've seen is her grow into a person who loves to help and encourage others. She's been such a leader the past years to my other students, because I coach 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade oral reading, and I know that she will continue to blossom, and don't worry, I'm still helping you. She's helped critique my other students, and she even passed the torch on to the other kids and said, okay, I did this, now it's your turn, you keep going. And I see a lot of myself in her, always working hard to do the most and the best, and I'm blessed to have her not only in my classroom in 3rd grade, but also on my UIL team. After we cried and literally screamed at the top of our lungs in Denver City when she got 1st place for the 3rd time, I said, I've got to get you a trophy or something. And what did you tell me that you wanted?
A crown and a sash.
A crown and a sash. So, Ms. Crutcher does not like to disappoint her students. So for you, Miss Princesa, I have a crown. Champion. All right, my friend? Because I know if anybody everybody deserves this. You do. And I'm very, very proud of you. And also, you have a fancy.
We are so proud of you. So much for your hard work. Good job.
Congratulations.
And I cannot wait to see Thank you so much.
I'll help on that.
In addition to the student, we had 2 others that we were just going to quickly recognize. We talk about those that fill in the gaps. And this first person I wanted to recognize is in recognition of extraordinary commitment to service both in the district and on our campus. This year, this person has stepped in when they needed somebody to help organize gates and do tickets. She stepped in to help there. And then she also organized our UIL efforts on our campus this year. So filling in the gaps is what helps us all remain successful when people change and do different roles. And so we wanted to recognize Pamela Maraz as Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then the last one, this one is new to us this year, and we were blessed beyond what we ever thought we would be. It's in dedicated service to our district and sincere appreciation for the profound impact you've had at North Elementary. Through your expertise, guidance, and support, you've strengthened our campus procedures, provided invaluable behavior strategies, and positively influenced both staff and students. Though you serve many, your work with our campus has been truly meaningful and appreciated. Ashley Bolton. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank
We will now proceed with the agenda. So,
Okay, we will have a financial report,
Yeah.
and we'll start with our audit presentation.
no, yeah,
Good evening, everybody. I'm Casey Gast. I'm audit partner in charge with Bollinger, Seegers, Gilbert, and Moss out of Lubbock, Texas. And we performed your 24-25 financial audit this year. So you should have the hard copy here. I tried to put out, if you're missing it, let me know. So for this year, kind of a similar, basically what we've come to expect, kind of at least. I know we had some turnover. Scott came in and took over. But we still came out and did the audit about mid-November, or October, sorry. And we were able to complete it in about 2.5 days, I believe. So that's really indicative of pretty good record keeping. Everything we asked for was provided timely. So we had no issues there. So we were able to get in and get out. So once again, a successful audit. With not only looking at numbers, we also look at a lot of those compliance components that TEA has you do, which that's related to your foundation allotments, as well as maintenance of effort and different types of ratios there as well. So we don't have anything that we need to note. Everything that we saw was in compliance. Once again, only TEA can determine compliance, but we didn't find anything that would warrant to bring to the board to say, hey, watch out for this. So we were good on that standpoint. So what that means is the district did receive the unmodified opinion or the clean audit opinion. That's the one you want. That's what TEA is looking for. So in this bound report here, all of the information is free of material misstatements and can be relied upon by outside parties. I think y'all kind of come to know my presentation a little. We're not going to go over the big thing, but I have provided the little handout that's kind of the highlights of what I think is kind of important, and it's also comparable. So we've got 3 years here because that kind of gives us kind of trends or different things we can see. The governmental audit reports are only a single year, so it's hard to show that comparison. So that's why we've compiled that here for you. So I'll kind of just quickly start at the top, and we'll kind of work our way down here. From a cash standpoint, pretty compared. We're down a little bit in the general fund side, but we have total cash in all funds of $13.2 million versus the $16 million in the prior year. And we'll kind of look at this. This is kind of due to a timing of a TEA payment, and that'll be in that next section of our receivables. and payables, you can see we have a pretty significant due from other governments of about $5 million versus only 1.4 last year. Well, what happened is usually we get an August foundation payment from TEA. They usually wire that in. The timing of that got messed up, and they ended up issuing a check, and that came in September. So that's the big portion of that receivable, was a pretty good foundation payment from August. But this will also entail there was a settle-up payment from TEA for your 24-25. And then also what we had is we usually accrue, so for those August days that the students are here, we accrue some of your 25-26 allotment back into August, and that allotment was up, so that pushed that receivable up as well. So there's kind of three components of driving that number up. We'll also see that when we come down into the state revenue on the general fund side, so we'll talk about that there as well. But like I said, that was one of the bigger anomalies that you kind of see when you're looking at the trend. You did not have any state overpayment in the current year, so it's all receivable from the state this year. And then from a property tax standpoint, we'll also look at the schedule here a little bit in the footnotes, but we did see kind of an increase in those receivable balances from taxpayers. From a fund balance standpoint, you will see the general fund did increase, and we'll look at that in the next section, but you ended the year with 15.1 versus 14.1 in the prior year. On a debt service standpoint, we had a little bit of an increase as well to 1.4 million this year. Food service, slight increase as well, about 563,000. And we're always kind of watching this food service fund balance because TDA says if you have over 6 months of fund balance, you have to have a spend down plan. Well, we're not there yet. Your 6 months would be about $1 million. So we've got some cushion there, so we did not need a spend down plan. Other funds, about 26,000 for total fund balances across all funds of 17.1 million for the year. Now we'll look to see kind of what happened in the general fund this year. From a local revenue standpoint, we saw a little bit of an increase, 5.4 million versus about 5.2 million in the prior year. This is related to your property values. Well, what we had is we had one of those 313 agreements expire in the current year. You had two outstanding. One expired technically last year. One expired at the end of 24-25, or has one more year, sorry. And that one will expire, so that's where you see a bump in those M&Os, because those had been limited, but now they're able to be at the full value of that one property. And then, but that was all then offset by a decrease in the tax rate. So you kind of had both of those there in the local. From the state revenue side, I was telling you we're about up 1.6 million on that, and that had to do with your settle-up stuff. We had an increase in the available for school fund. That rate was just increased. The State Board of Education sets that rate. That rate was increased this year. You had some increases in your Tier 2 status, or Tier 2 rates also. So with those kind of increased that 24-25 allotment, and then I had also mentioned those August days that we accrue for from your 25-26 allotment. So that was your increase on your state revenues. From a federal side, we had decrease in SHARs. We're kind of seeing that across the board. Nothing really to note there. And the next we have sale of real property. So you'll see that was about $338,000 this year. We were able to take old equipment around the district, sell it back to Apple, technology equipment I should say, sell it back to Apple, and they gave you a refund of this amount. From non-current loans, you went out and you were financing some SRO vehicles plus some buses. So that's that new note coming on. We haven't yet purchased, as of August 31, not all the vehicles have been purchased, so that'll kind of play into our fund balance here just a little bit, so kind of keep that kind of in your mind that this loan has come on. So that gave us total revenues of almost 4 million versus about almost 19.9 million in the prior year, so about an increase of 1.5 million. From an expenditure standpoint, we saw your kind of instructional type items decrease, and a big chunk of that is you bought 4 buses in the prior year, so that would be the good chunk of this decrease. But you were able to also buy an activity bus in the current year, plus a deposit on another one. So kind of keep those in mind, because I think that activity bus and the deposit also are part of that loan. So moving into the next line item there, general admin and maintenance and operation. Not a lot to note, pretty comparable. It was down a little bit from a debt service side. So with these loans, you finance those out of the general fund. They're not considered debt service. That's only your bonds. So in this, we had a note last year for the technology purchases. So that's what you had a payment on. you haven't paid any of the vehicle note yet. So what you see here is only the first payment of the note of the technology expenditures. Other payments fairly comparable, and then that gave us our total expenditures of $20.4 million versus $21.4 million in the prior year. To give us our net increase of about $1 million versus our deficit last year of about $1.5 million. And so just keep in mind, that's great, we were able to add the fund balance. I haven't been able to say that at a lot of my districts. It's been kind of tough for several, but keep in mind of that loan you got, it was kind of an influx knowing those expenditures are coming out in 25, 26. Not the full amount because we already bought the one bus, but just to kind of keep in mind those will be additional expenditures without that revenue in the next year. So that gave us 7.5 months of fund balance. And for those of you, just to know that at the end of August, at these current spending levels, you would be able to still run the district for 7.5 months. So TEA's kind of rule of thumb is that 3 to 4 months. I know we've kind of talked about that before with it tied to that first indicator. So I think we're doing good there. We're kind of still watching that, making sure our commitment also, so you have to kick out that commitment piece, but we're still doing good there on that first. And then, like I said, I still think strong fund balance position at the 7.5 months. So that is up from the 6.6 in the prior year. The next few little items down here are just kind of informational. It has our summary of finance. We did have a decrease in ADA. And then we talked about the state aid. We did have an increase there from last year. And then on those M&O and INS values, so you can see M&O and INS both went up, but M&O went up by more because of those tax limitation. That one tax limitation expired. So moving on to the debt service side, we saw a decrease in the local and state revenue there. You had a decrease on your INS tax rate as well, even though the values went up slightly. And then from a debt service payment side, you're in accordance with your amortization there, so nothing unusual there. So you were still able to put back into debt service $419,000, almost $420,000, I should say. Our next little section here is for just capitalization. So it's fixed assets and depreciation of $66.5 million, and your bonds outstanding of about and other debt, I should say, of about $22 million. So we have the buses and the vehicles came on in the current year for our debt. Those are our increases. Your bonds will mature in 2045. The technology note matures in 2028. And then the vehicles mature in 2037. Unless you can pay off early or whatever. But that's kind of your amortization at this point. I guess I should also note, we did have to do an additional compliance audit because you receive over $750,000 in federal funds. And we had the major program we chose was child nutrition. And we did not have any issues or findings there. Sorry, I should have said that first. I kind of left that one off. Sorry. But it kind of has your note here at the bottom. The threshold is moving to $1 million for 25-26, but y'all received well over that, so you will continue to have a single audit. Unless a lot of funding is lost, which we hope not. So sorry, that was a lot of stuff really quick. Any questions?
So if we wouldn't have had the loan, that's counted as revenue 24-25 budget, what would have been our deficit or balance?
So no loan, and you still have you still purchased the bus and the other, yeah.
We didn't have to show it as revenue.
Yeah, so if you did not have the loan, yeah, you would be at a balance. You'd probably be at zero. You technically take that $945,000 out of the.
So 25-26, it's going to be, we're going to have to pay for the vehicles once they get in.
Yes.
That's going to be the where it gets.
You'll just see it as an expenditure line item.
Right. Okay.
So, with no revenue to offset, because we recognize the full note in 24-25.
So really, I mean, too, what Ron said, plus the fact, had we not had that sale of the computers,
Yes, that also helped.
basically, I mean, a couple $100,000, we pretty much broke even revenues and expense.
Yes.
Am I looking at that right?
I think that's how I was kind of looking at it. Yes.
I think you. Oh, and I was going to ask too, the fund balance, that's $6 million. I mean, are we still good? That we've got committed.
The committed. Yes, I think so. I ran that calculation. We were still good.
Okay.
Yes, especially anytime you're increasing fund balance, that's always going to be to the good. So, but we'll keep that monitored and think we got Scott up to say, okay, let's keep watching it.
So as of August 31st, 2025, our general fund balance is 13.2. What's
15.1.
15.
And you could also find that on page 12.
Oh, right there, okay.
Yeah, and on page 12 at the bottom it tells you what you committed. That's the 6 million that Kevin referred to. So you have actually unassigned of 9.1 million. So the 6 million is like committed. Y'all, the board has that earmarked for certain purposes, and then. Does that get you? Go ahead.
I feel bad. Is it Bollinger or Bollinger?
Bollinger? I've always said Bollinger.
I've 30
Bollinger,
years
Bollinger.
I've said Bollinger.
Been asking him all day.
She's been asking me all day.
I even called.
Bollinger.
Because I didn't want to say it wrong. I called. He said it one way, and then I called and we asked, and he said Bollinger, and then I told him, he goes, "Well, I've been saying it wrong for 30 years." I said, "Well, I should have asked her. How long have you worked there?" Make sure I'm saying it right.
Yeah, either way, I think
Y'all probably look at me like I'm an idiot whenever I talk to you.
No,
Because
I probably don't
always
hear
say
it.
Bollinger.
Well, you don't get it.
Here, we'll solve it. BSGM. How about that?
That's what I told her. So just say BSG.
Yeah, I was thank you so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So I did want to look at a couple schedules before we.
I'm
Sorry.
Oh, that's right.
So we don't have any, like last year, we had the fund over and somewhere that we need to move this year. There's nowhere.
No, we're good. I
Overpayment,
think-
underpayment, that's all taken care of. Good now, right?
Yes. Sorry.
That was nice, though.
Just a bit more on page 47. I can't believe it. Yeah, page 47. I just like to look at the budgetary. This is one of the schedules TEA is looking at it and is watching. One of the new schedules they're asking for us to upload in a text file as well, but that is not available yet, so we cannot upload your audit to TEA yet. So just kind of keep in mind that TEA is watching this one, but what they're looking for is in the expenditure section, looking for any unfavorable, meaning did you overspend your budget? So we had kind of two functions that were overspent, so just be aware you will get a letter just from TEA saying don't overspend your budget. So it is, I think y'all have always done a good job of getting those amendments in, but just kind of making sure we can get those in. Like I said, very, very small, not much at all. But I just want to point that out because TEA is looking at this. And the other thing I like to look at is, the three lines from the bottom, that net change in fund balance. So on the left there, you have your original fund balance was, or the original net change in your fund balance. You thought we're probably going to go in the whole 1.5. You kind of kept it that amended. You just amended within your functions there, and then we came out 966,000 to the good. Well, you can see you already amended and put in the sale and the loans. So the big driver was in the state revenue. That's where your big difference was. So meaning those additional days that we accrued for 25-6 plus settle up, I think gets you pretty much to that additional amount. So just something to kind of note if you're looking at the budget, you're like, wow, we thought we were going to have a deficit. Oh, wow, we ended up really in the good. That was your big driver. So
So is there anything we can do, like, as a board to watch to not miss it on these big swings, so when we don't get stressed and start taking it out on people?
I mean, a lot of
unintentionally.
a lot of my districts really don't touch their revenue when they budget. I mean, a lot of them are just moving them in the functions of those expenditures. I don't know, so you could, but that's the bad thing about TEA. They don't put out a near final till early September. You have to have everything in by the end of August. So, I don't know
The
if...
thing too that I noticed was up there in the revenues on that G1, on the state revenues, that I know it's a favorable variance of 1.8 million. That doesn't tell us much whenever we miss it that much or miss the original budget.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, and like I said, some of that, if you're really looking at it, 500,000 is from the August days, which y'all probably don't even consider when you're just kind of looking at TEA's payment report, and then they could do the settle up then, and then there comes your other 700,000. And so, yeah. Tell TEA to put stuff out more timely.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, like I said, we can't even upload any audits yet. And
So,
Go ahead.
Well, as you talk about the revenues, and Casey, correct me if I'm wrong, so the revenue from 23 to 24
So
is reflective in the state revenue?
it shouldn't. I think unless something came up bigger and above what we had already, because we try to keep up with TEA, and they're usually pretty close. What's falling out year to year isn't necessarily a lot sometimes, so we usually accrued for it. Was there additional?
So the unearned revenue in 23, 24, that's...
Oh, that's right. We flipped the unearned revenue.
Yeah.
That was the other.
So that's
Thank
going to
you.
appear on the state side. And then we had a PTAD appeal on property values that we won. And we were having to collect at the lower rate because of the difference between the local appraisal and the comptroller values. And so that's about $800,000 in additional revenue that we got through the PTAD that we didn't know until about the time I came on. It was in March or April that we got the notification that we had been successful in that appeal. So when you talk about that variance, you have the unearned revenue from 23 to 24 and another almost $800,000 in your PTAD appeal that are going into that state revenue.
Yeah, but I guess my point, Scott, is that as a board, whenever you come to us with a budget back in August, and I know this is not your budget.
Yes, sir.
This is
No, but you're right. We want accurate revenue.
My point is, just looking at this year, and, don't know about the year that we're in right now, but whenever we adopted this budget, we adopted a budget of a deficit of $1.5 million. And, taxpayers in the community, they pick up on that. And then we turn around and come at the end of the year and we're at a surplus, at a surplus of $2.5 million. We've gone from $1.5 million deficit to, a 2.5 swing from a $1.5 million deficit to what we ended up at. And to me, even though that's a good thing that it swung that way, to me, that's too big of to budget and to adopt a budget at a $1.5 million deficit, and then we go completely the other direction in the amount of $2.5 million as far as the total swing. That's the part that concerns me from a standpoint of. It has nothing to do with the numbers or with the actual figures. It has to do with the budgeting process.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think to that regard, whenever you do the property value appeals, you don't ever know if you're going to win that or not. You'll get the notification from them about the estimate, and then it has to go through that whole process. And so you wouldn't actually, that part of it, you wouldn't even know while you're doing your budget. That would be the only thing. So as far as $800,000 of it, that would be part of it that I think would not even be known until you go through the appeal. So.
Yeah, but the taxes side of it, property taxes side of it, you correct me if I'm off here. It's not, I don't want to say it's minimal, but as far as total revenues, taxes don't move the needle at all, in my opinion, from a standpoint of, it does, but,
Yeah,
it's
a driver, it's a player.
It's a driver, it's a player in the formula and all that good stuff, but as far as total revenues, that we're getting off the taxes.
No, if you're looking at this district from your local property taxes, no, it's.
Yeah.
Okay, one more schedule, guys. If we'll look at page 57. And so this on page 57, this is your property taxes, and it basically shows what's been outstanding for the last 10 years. So you can kind of see what the tax rates were, both maintenance and debt service, the appraised values, and then it kind of has a beginning balance and then over to an ending balance, so it kind of shows you what's outstanding by year. So you can see now we've kind of gone over the $1 million mark on an outstanding balance. And so this is important because this is $1 million that isn't recognized as revenue at the district level until it's collected. So this was a trend we also saw across most of our districts, that 2025 taxpayers weren't paying as much as they had been. So we saw like 2025 being a more outstanding number. Still, tax collections were good, but we saw this balance kind of increase over what our prior year balances had been. And I think a lot of that is probably economical and, just hardships of some people not being able to make ends meet. So kind of saw that in the COVID years. So just something to kind of watch, that this was a trend that I had kind of noticed, that across most of my districts that 25 was not as good as collectability as in prior years for lots of districts.
So when property goes delinquent, how many years, I know the president probably handles it at the sheriff's office, can a certain taxing entity press for property that's 5, 6, 7 years in delinquent?
I mean, I think that's usually the lawyer. Yeah.
Or how does that get initiated?
I think that's usually by lawyers. I mean, Purdue's one of the, I don't know if that's who
Yeah,
y'all
Purdue's.
use.
It'll be
On the
Purdue.
appraisal district?
Yeah. So, no, I wish you could just go and be like, hey, that's ours, and then, but there's a process. And then with that, I have the last handout that's in there is just kind of the loose page in there is your just kind of the benchmark. So this is really just informational purposes. It's with your football district schools plus some other area surrounding area schools. It just kind of gives you an idea on some of these highlights or trends or benchmarking type items. Shows what the ADA and change in ADA has been, the general fund balance, expenditures in the general fund, months of fund balance, expenditures per kid, the M&O and INS tax rates, changes in assessed values, and then outstanding debt, and then debt per student on the far right. Keep in mind this is for 23-24 data, just because that's what was available out on TEA's website, so kind of almost 3 years behind, but just to kind of give you an idea of where do we stand against some of our peers.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate y'all having me tonight, and if y'all have any more discussions or comments, I'm all ears.
We want to go ahead and jump to the board action items so we can just get her on the road. Deliberation of possible action to approve the annual financial audit report fiscal year 24-25.
Motion presented.
Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Deliberation and possible action to approve auditors for Bollinger, Seegers, Gilbert and Moss LLP for 25-26 school year.
I move to accept as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we'll go on to the
Collegiate education.
education.
Dan, are you ready for collegiate education?
Do you need me to sign in?
Yes.
Probably need to get.
Casey,
Sorry.
do you have the signature page?
Yeah, so I
Scott has it.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So,
so we can.
All right, we're going to jump a little bit, and we're going to introduce Andy Wilson with Collegiate Education for a presentation. So,
but once I can upload it to TA, it's for public records.
Good evening. How are y'all?
we're getting it up. Hold on one second.
KACEY.
And I'm just going to say it's a really good thing he's doing the technology because mine has been very interesting the last 2 weeks. That's all I'm going to say. But I think we have it figured out.
Audit partner.
Working for you?
It's fine. Do you want to get it?
Casey, thank you so much.
Thank you all for letting me come be here with you this evening. My name is Andy Wilson. I'm the research director for Collegiate Education. Previously I was at Roscoe Collegiate ISD. I was there for 17 years as principal and then assistant superintendent and superintendent, and then transitioned into Collegiate Education. So I'm happy to be here with y'all this evening. Before we start, if you have something to write on, you might just jot down the answer to a question. And that is, what is the main thing here at Lamesa ISD? You know, that you hear people say, keep the main thing, the main thing. So what would the main thing be here? And I'm not going to ask you to say this. It's not a test. just think about it and maybe jot something down. What is your reason for being? Then the next thing is what stands in the way of accomplishing that main thing, whatever that main thing is. What stands in the way of getting that done? And the last thing is, what do you have in place to help get that thing done? What resources do you have? What do you have here already that is helping you get that main thing done? So it doesn't matter, what you put there on your paper. You might refer to it, look at it later. You may not. It's okay. I just want you to think about it. You put out to the world on your website that your main thing is student success. You want your students to be successful. Effort today leads to success tomorrow. And then you focus here on your mission so that your students are successful at home, at work, and in their community. And then at the bottom you have some things there that lead to success for your staff members as well. So success is important to you guys, and I appreciate that. That's going to help in our conversation tonight. Looking at this, what do you see? Those are all Ford trucks. What differences do you see in those Ford trucks?
Different years,
Different years.
Different years, yep. That's different decades.
Same body,
Different bodies. So you got some wooden spoked wheels, and then you got some metal wheels later on. Sitting on the engine on that first one, then the engine moves out front. Then the engine compartment gets bigger because the engines get bigger. Why do the engines get bigger? Technology is changing, and we want to go faster, right? We never want to go slower. We always want to go faster. Roads, right? Infrastructure changes. Can you imagine riding on the roads that were really designed for horses, trails for horses in these early models? Well, they started paving the roads, and so you could go faster. Then we move into the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s. What's the main difference here that you can see right off the bat? Double cab, right? We moved from a truck being a work vehicle to it's the family vehicle, but it's also a work vehicle, right? You can get 6 men or women in a double cab truck. Where did the other 3 men or women go back before we had double cabs? They went to bed, right? Now, at 18 and up, you can still be in the bed, but how often do you see adults riding in the bed of a truck? Not very often, right? So our standards, our safety standards changed. Even if laws for adults didn't change, our standards changed. And then, of course, now we've got electric vehicles. I can't afford an electric vehicle, but I've got a friend who has an electric Ford truck, and he loves the thing. He says it's very fast. I don't need a very fast truck, so it's better that I not have one. Those truck models changed as our society changed, as technology changed, as infrastructure changed. Those changed as well, and they'll continue to do so. But expectations for all students. In 1900, it was 3rd grade expectation. In 1921, a 6th grade. 1936, 8th grade. I had 2 grandparents with an 8th grade education, and I had 2 grandparents with a 12th grade education, and they were all extremely intelligent. But the expectation was different for 2 of them. The 11th grade in 1946, 1947, 12th grade, and we haven't changed our expectation for all students since 1947. That's really where we've stayed. Now we have some innovation. We're blurring the lines, we're graying the lines, we're doing some different things now, but that expectation for all students, we expect everybody to get a 12th grade education, right? But we don't really expect a whole lot beyond that. What if we had stopped here? What if we had stopped at the blue truck? I mean, I'd love to have one of those 1940-something model truck, but I can't get my whole family in it. We can't take it on vacation. It'd be hot in the summertime. You know all the things, right? We like to quote our best philosophers, and being rural, Jeff Foxworthy is ours. The definition of stupid is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. So we believe at Collegiate Education, school transformation is important. And a lot of times that doesn't even happen in the rural areas. So our focus is working in the rural areas to to bring about change for the highest possible outcomes for your students. Success. More than 60% of jobs in Texas require some post-secondary or education or training. So certifications, degrees. This is off the Texas 2036 website, that little part there in brown. You can see there in the 2012 cohort, only 22% of students after 6 years had attained a post-secondary certification or degree. Now, Texas 2036 says we're now at 1 in 3, so 33%. So we're doing better. We've improved. But we still got a long way to go. 60% of folks need that. And we're looking at a lifetime loss of learnings for that 8th grade cohort of $208 billion because of not getting a post-secondary certification or degree. We do believe in getting certifications, and we do believe there are high-wage, high-demand jobs that certifications will get students into. But the numbers and research are accurate that typically the higher you go in your education, the more earning potential you have. So that's what this chart is showing. What I think is very interesting and important is what's in green. The unemployment rate is a lot lower with the higher education level you have. And then post-COVID, when COVID happened, we had that unemployment and we had that recession trough, but the folks who rebounded the quickest were the degree holders. And 99% of new jobs require a 2-year or 4-year degree. So as we talk about students being in post-secondary education, there's a lot of inhibitors to that, a lot of things that stand in the way. What's standing in the way of that? First-generation college students have a hard time. They don't have background at home a lot of times to know how to get there to begin with and what process it takes. College skepticism. College isn't for me. I can't do that. Right? How many times have we heard say, well, that's really not for me. Even for certification. Inadequate academic rigor. That's common in rural. I'm not saying that's common here, but it's common in rural. And we just haven't prepared them. Complex financial aid. You probably need 3 or 4 doctorates to really understand the financial aid process. Hidden cost, poor college fit. People, they often go and they come back by December. One of the things that I want to commend you guys on, you're already in your planning year for P-TECH. P-TECH allows for the support to get your students in college classes while they're in high school, and even support in years 13 and 14 to be able to eliminate a lot of these barriers that get in the way. So, do we have time for me to show this video? Can you click on that?
Rural America is really not what it used to be. Things are changing too fast now. You can't just get a job and make $15 an hour and have a life where you can take care of your family.
More and more schools are waking up to the fact that they've got to redesign to prepare students for their future rather than our past. Being from Roscoe, being such a small town, you know the people, you know the kids.
This being a rural city, we have a lot of people that are not quite as financially advantaged.
As I became superintendent, our disadvantaged students would do really well in school, good grades and good test scores. But for many of those students, walking across that graduation stage was a little bit like walking off a cliff. The best part of their life was now behind them.
We need to find something we can do better than our neighboring schools, something we can hang our hat on and find our niche.
And that's part of the reason why the U.S. is constantly pushing math and science, because those are the 2 things that grow your country, is math and science.
It's our responsibility, I think, as educators to try to move them to a better life. Because if we don't do this, who's going to?
We had been declining in enrollment since 1995, and so we got to looking at what can we do to reverse that dynamic and change the future for Roscoe.
it's a top-tier academic school, but it's also a trade school for high school kids.
Texas can't fill half of the STEM jobs because of an uneducated workforce. And so that is really the reason that STEM is such a buzzword. That's where the jobs are.
We start them off as 7th graders, and they pick their pathways. We start welding with them their 8th grade year. By the time they're seniors, they get out of here and they know what they're doing.
Being around the vet clinic is definitely something I've wanted to do since starting here at school. Growing up and coming to Roscoe when our horizons are expanded, and the clinic was an option, and I was more drawn to that than anything. It's just wonderful. I love it here.
High school kids are get one of 4 certifications in my program. They can either get their drone license or they can become Adobe certified in Photoshop, Premiere Pro, or After Effects.
In EduMake, they have a manufacturing class which they are learning how to actually draw whatever design they are wanting and actually put it on the machine and cut it themselves.
I was 11 years old. I got diagnosed with leukemia. I had 2 nurses that really impacted me while I was going through chemotherapy. They made me realize that I wanted to do the same thing for children, and now I'm on my way to becoming a nurse.
We need to not have just a purely academic model. There needs to be that real-world relevance that comes from workforce readiness. A more highly educated rural population is what will lead to the innovation that leads to rural job creation.
To me, that's what true education should really be. It should be focused on academics, but also focusing on what trade, what industry do you want to get into whenever you leave high school.
We figured out a solution how to break generational poverty through higher education, and we're interested in helping anyone and everyone that would like to reduce the time to get that done.
Leaving Roscoe, I was able to graduate with an associate's, and that allowed me to get my teaching degree within a year of being graduated from high school, and that allowed me to teach at 19.
If I wasn't for Roscoe, I probably wouldn't be pursuing a career in vet science, which I'm very grateful for, because this is exactly what I want to do.
All my college will be paid for by Hamlin. It's going to be a big plus to my life.
With me, it's always been about winning, and when I was a coach, I knew what winning was. You either had more points or you crossed the finish line first. And so I say all the time, we're interested in the highest student outcomes in the nation for all students.
I've already come out with my doctorate in physical therapy. I'm still here in Sweetwater, came back to work at the hospital and hopefully take over a director.
Never in my life did I ever think this would happen. I'm very proud of him, and so is his father too.
Yo les diría a los jóvenes que tengan muchas ganas de estudiar, y si se proponen una meta, le echen muchas ganas al estudio y algún día lo van a lograr. Y así como lo hizo José, muchos lo pueden hacer, todos pueden hacerlo. Si se lo proponen, pueden llegar a hacerlo.
We found in Roscoe, when we set a high expectation and provided pathways to high achievement, and then helped students aspire to high achievement, that's exactly what we had. We got success. Our students were successful. We made a goal of, do we have the next slide? We made a goal of 90% of our students when we became an early college high school and then moved on to PTech, but 90% of our students would graduate high school with their associate degree. That's a high number. That's a high percentage. We set that expectation, and after a few years, we were in the 80s, and we had 3 years of 90% of our students to reach that goal. We hit COVID. We dropped down to the 70s and 80s, but they're still doing very well in that 80 percentile. And so the model, the P20 model, is pre-K through terminal degree if a student chooses to go that far. And you saw there at the end of the video, Dr. Jose Rangel is our first. He was our first 20, our first graduate, our first doctoral student to go through the program. So very proud of him and all that he's done. So So we are CN. Our vision is, you heard Dr. Alexander say it, is to end generational poverty. We believe you do that through education. We want to empower rural students and rural school districts to be able to accomplish that, and all students perform to their highest possible potential. So we've got, this is a little bit dated. There's about, I think, 28 school districts on here. We're really working with about 40 around the state. This is a little dated too. We need to update this. We need to add New Mexico and Missouri and Ohio to this map. But we're working with about 8 or 9 states. Those 3 states I just mentioned, we're working very closely with them. The others, we're just talking about, what would this mean? What would the P20 model mean in their state? And it's all rural. We're only work with rural. We have 3 pillars. I won't get into a lot into this, but we have a pillar for pre-K through 12. That's what you guys do here. But there's a little bit of blurring of the lines now with PTEC coming in. When y'all are adopting that, we're looking at, well, first you've got your dual credit classes that are also pre-K through 12, but then and then years 13 and 14. So how can we help you support those students in years 13 and 14? Apprenticeships, internships are a very important part of that, work-based learning, and then those pathways to those degrees. And then rural focused research and impact. Part of what we have, part of our company is called EduReach. We have a program, I guess you could say, called EduReach, and that's more about rural economic development. What can we do? Can we energize Lamesa? Can we energize the folks here to bring in businesses and jobs that will keep your students local, where they don't have to go off to find jobs? And so how can we stimulate the economy right here in Lamesa? We work a lot with Dr. Bill Daggett, and he has developed this future-focused instructional framework. I won't get a lot into this, but cognitive and academic is where we've done very well in school for years. That's the red triangle there. Interpersonal and self-leadership skills, those often came, through clubs, through Boy Scouts, through 4-H, through church activities, and at home. And we just don't have as much of that kind of training happening outside of schools. And so schools have been called upon to do that. But it takes very innovative instructional models to be able to get the interpersonal and self-leadership in there. So I'll talk about some of that as we move through. So a student journey in the P20 model, we're going to start with pre-K. I have seen pre-K classes where the teachers lectured the students. Can you imagine? Being 3 years old and have to sit and listen to a teacher talk to you. We want students doing activities and learning and discovering and being curious about things. And so that's what we're going to lead districts that we work to do. And then we're going to talk about expectations and start working on aspirations and start talking about college and post-secondary, even with our 3-year-olds. We're going to continue that on into the early elementary ages with experiential learning, centers-based instruction, and moving away from lecture kinds of things. And also we begin student-directed research. I'll talk more about that here in a second, but we start that in 3rd grade as well. Blended learning, being able to use those computers. If y'all are one-to-one, it sounds like you have an Apple contract earlier, so you're one-to-one laptops. So how can we leverage that technology to provide instruction so that teachers are freed up to do more of the yellow and the blue, to be the coach and the mentor, and to help develop and hone skills. So blended learning is a way to do that. And you move into 8th grade and you start looking at those career pathways and your degree pathways, your certifications, and start getting ready for the CTE, or start implementing the CTE. They move into those CTE programs of study. So then 11th and 12th grade, they're taking higher level college classes potentially, or higher level certification courses, and getting ready to move on into college or career. So what's in green that just popped up are some of the ways that we do this. A common instructional framework where the teachers have developed or have adopted a framework from, in Roscoe we did kinder through 12. And so some of the strategies, one strategy in that was writing to learn. Writing to learn looks different in kindergarten than it does 12th grade. But when we implemented instructional rounds, so we had we had high school teachers in kindergarten classes and lower elementary classrooms and vice versa. So then they came to the table and they talked about what the differences are. And so they developed a very strong common instructional framework, high quality instructional materials. So using those high quality materials and bringing that in with the strategies is very important. Age appropriate. I thought I changed that to student directed research. I guess it didn't take. We at one time called it age appropriate. It should be age-appropriate student-directed research. But that's a lot like project-based learning. It's surrounding a project or a problem, but it's using the scientific method very purposefully, or the engineering design process. So students that may be in robotics or in engineering, a design class, they could use it. They could still do their student-directed research. They just use a different method. That student-directed research develops ownership over work. I mean, if they start that in 3rd grade and do it through 12th grade, they've learned to own their work and drive themselves. They've developed agency, so they know they can walk out and ask questions. They can think about what solutions are, and then they can test and see if that solution will work or not. And then for student-directed research, they will present their research to a panel of judges, and those judges will ask them questions, so they have to defend their work. I'll talk more about that in a second, but I just wanted to set you up there with that. PTAC programs of study, you're in the middle of that and planning those at the moment. Those are aligned to your local workforce needs, of course, and then degrees and certifications for all students. So we want college degrees, certifications, internships, registered apprenticeships, all of that for all of your students. Some of the things that we do to support this, of course, we work with your leaders, your school leaders, your administrators. We work with your school board. We can provide school board training as well. Staff, I've actually already come, and I think last year, at the beginning of the year is when it was, came and did a culture, I'm losing my words, a culture presentation, culture training for the staff. Part of being an innovative school and implementing innovative programs means looking real closely at your culture. Do you have the culture to do it, and what needs to change in order for you to have a culture to be innovative, and then sustain that over time? And so we can work with your staff. Of course, we have instructional folks that can come in and work too. We can work with your data. We've got different platforms to house your data and that kind of thing as well. And also funding. We can help with grants. Have we helped people with grants before? We have helped with grants. So we can get you grants that will help you do the work that you want to do. That student journey we went through a while ago. This is kind of in a one-page deal, but you can see there where we want to connect to community, we want to connect to careers, and we want to connect to college across the board from pre-K through 320. Again, back to Bill Daggett. He developed the rigor relevance framework. When you increase rigor, you have to increase relevance. Because why should I work that hard? If I don't understand why and I don't see how it applies to me, why should I work that hard? And so we want to drive to quadrant D there, and adaptation. We want students creating and evaluating so that they can apply to real-world predictable problems and real-world unpredictable problems, so that they learn how to become good adapters. So back to student-directed research. These are a couple of girls. The one there on my right grew up in Roscoe, so she'd been doing student-directed research since 3rd grade. The other one moved in about 8th grade. They competed on the national FFA stage with this, did very well. We've had several groups of students go up and present. They start off 4-H. One of the things we do is we would like to help you have a school-wide 4-H. And we're working with Texas 4-H at the moment to make that an easier and cheaper process. And so we would like to do that. But the kids get in high school, and if they're interested, they transition into FFA to be able to show their research as well. So we want that research to be internally judged, by folks you bring in from the community to judge, but then go out and present that at the Lions Club meetings, at the Rotary meetings, and then compete on the FFA and 4-H stage. Just some of our information from last year. We're pulling all this data together from the year before, so for last year, but these are kind of gives you an idea of who we've worked with, and I've talked about that kind of already. For CEN, 48 students in our districts, 48% our earnings dual credit. 44% of the class of 2024 earned high wage, high demand industry certifications, so degrees and certifications. I feel like we need to work on this next one. 22% have earned an associate degree prior to high school. I would love to see that number grow. And then 51% have continued in years 13 and 14 for college completion. A little bit about years 13 and 14 in college completion. When we had 90% of our students earning associate degrees, and we were looking at becoming a P-Tech, we were early college and STEM blended model. And P-Tech came around and we were interested in it, and so we applied for that. And as we were planning for that, we thought, what do we do with those students that 90% of them have an associate degree, and the purpose of P-Tech is to get either a certification or associate degree. And so we thought, well, I wonder, can we work with a regional university and see if we can't get them their bachelor's degree in years 13 and 14. So we did. We worked with Western Texas College, who was our 2-year partner, and West Texas A&M, had a 3-way MOU, and our students were able to go on and get their bachelor's degree through that partnership, and we have them, they're still doing that at Roscoe today. In fact, Roscoe, Cumbie, and Roscoe, Cumbie, and Floyd are all doing that. And so in Roscoe, it started off as a distributed degree, so the students could stay home. Some of those X's that we looked at, moving away and having to pay for living costs, is a big prohibiting factor for a lot of students. And so they would be back in December. Well, we were able to keep our kids at home with local support. Now we've expanded that where they can go to the campus if they want to. So just a little bit about the value there of P-Tech. This is off the TEA side, but you've heard about the CCMR accountability and bonus outcomes. We want to help you capitalize on that. This last presentation, we want to increase that revenue, and you're probably, like most schools, you're leaving some money on the table because you're not capitalizing on those outcomes. And so doing this together is important. Dr. Alexander, you saw in the video a while ago, used to say, he may still say it, but you can't do this kind of work as an independent school district. You're going to be an independent school district. You're not going to change your governing structure. What he meant by that is you've got to have partners. You've got to invite local industry in and higher education in and other folks in to help you get this work done. And we'd like to be a part of that as well. So if you have questions for me now, I'll take them. If you have questions you want to ask in the future, there's my email address and Dr. Alexander's email address as well. Thank you for letting me be with you this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we move on to our financial report, I just want to thank Mr. Hogg and the barbecue team for the amazing dinner.
Yes.
We appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much for all your hard work.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
It was absolutely amazing and delicious, and we appreciate y'all very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you guys have any questions for Andy Wilson?
I don't think so. Anybody are pretty good?
Thank
Okay,
you so much.
thank
We
you so
appreciate
much.
you.
Happy to be with y'all.
Thank you. Move on to financial report.
All right, looking at your financial report, the first page is that budget versus actual for 25-26. And we'll look at how that compares to last year at this same time on the next page. On the second page, you have the revenues and expenditures comp of December 25 looking in comparison to 2024. And again, you can see that year-to-date, our state revenues are up. And that some of that just has to do with the TA payments and changes in the values and things we talked about. You see that on the far right, there's a column there that just shows that. So this through December of 25 versus 24, significant getting that revenue earlier, which is nice because that means it's hitting the bank and doing that. And if you'll look on those expenditures, just kind of looking at year over year, you can see that we have significant decrease in most of our functions with regard to expenditures. Of course, the large one being in our security monitoring services, and that's part of that is the budget expenditure for the SRO vehicles. So you can see that we have that as well. And we've encumbered those funds, so that's where you see that large increase, even though we've not yet paid for those vehicles. We'll point out too, the payroll 2025, if you look down toward the bottom where I have those broken out by code. And just pointing out, because of House Bill 2, and you have the increase from the state with the teacher retention allotment, and so just pointing to that, comparing where we are payroll-wise to where we were a year ago, even though we're at over $900,000 and or close to that in salary increases in the district, we're running, pretty close, just a slight uptick in that. Some of that is because of the decrease in staffing. Some of that has to do with how we've been able to move some of the payroll into our federal grants and offset that on the bill. If you don't have any questions over that year-over-year comparison, page 3 is the revenue expenditures. And just started this report in the last couple of months for you, just to keep that in front of you, the revenues that we expect to receive on those grant funds as well as those special funds. And so you can see what we've been allocated. Again, some of these funds will have additional funds this spring. Some of that in Title I, we had some rollover funds from 24-25 that are not realized yet. The state will make those available in February or March, and then we'll have to do an amendment for that. But we do have some additional funds coming in Title I. And then typically we'll see a slight uptick in Fund 244, which is your Perkins grant, and there's an adjustment that we'll receive in the spring as well for it. So you can see some of those other items. Fund 265 is not actually our grant. It's one that we get from the Community Action, and so we use that to pay for after-school tutoring. And so that's why you don't see an original budget. That's not something we budget for. We turn in those receipts and we're reimbursed from those folks. And then as a reminder, the last So Strong Foundations, this is the first year of that grant. It's playing for the Blue Bonnet materials with math in the lower grades. And so that grant requires specific expenditures. And so $100,000 of that was allocated towards your Region 17 that coordinates that for us and comes out, works with our instructional staff and implementation.
Is that just a one-year grant or?
Yes.
Yes,
But this, we've reapplied. That's part of the LASSO grant.
It's a certain date that you have to apply.
In December, right? This is the one that we they've revised, pardon me, and there's a new framework for it. So we went through that prior to the official deadline, which was December 3rd,
Yes.
and submitted. It's much larger. Of what we've submitted is a significantly larger amount.
Good.
We've expanded upon it significantly.
Good.
Then a reminder, because we talked about it in the audit report, we've tried to get as accurate on that debt service tax collection as possible because of this state law that came in that's now penalizing us on the M&O side if we over-collect in our debt service collection. And so we really try to lower that INS tax rate. It's still something that I worry about a little bit because you do get some, and she talked about the delinquent taxes, we will receive some delinquent tax collection, and often you'll see that your tax collections exceed the what you budgeted for. So there's still a chance that we can collect more on the INS side than we set out to do, but we did intentionally lower that INS rate just a little bit to try to avoid getting penalized on our M&O ASAE.
So if someone is, say, 2 years behind, and they pay this spring, and it triggers over the percentage what we can collect, that's still negative for us, even though they're 2 years behind?
Yes, sir. So when they passed this law, basically what they were saying is we don't want you going out and, because the state gives us additional state aid for that tax compression. So they're paying off the difference as we lower those tax rates on the M&O side. So what they're saying on your debt service side is they don't want you overtaxing and paying down your debt early or passing that burden on to taxpayers on the note. And so my understanding was, I didn't follow it that closely, but that they originally set out to just outright just take that away from you. I don't know if they got legal ruling there, or if just there wasn't enough political will to do that. But what they ended up doing is what we have now, which is we're not going to take away your funds that you collect on the INS side, but we will take it away on your M&O side. So it's almost like a balancing scale. So we have to try to hit as close to the debt service payment as we can, and it's not dollar for dollar. So if we overtax, they're not going to take every dollar above that amount, but it will fractionally reduce our additional state aid on the M&O side. So anyway, every little bit in the budget world that we're in counts, and so we have intentionally tried to make adjustments. As you can see on that, and I mentioned that because the last line on your funds is what we budgeted for the debt service payment.
Right.
If you don't have any questions over those funds, then the next page is the monthly donation report. We have 2 donations that we have for you from December. One is from Baby Water Exploration Production. I believe they do this annually. This goes toward the food pantry and those services that program is offering to the community. And then, which is Fund 461. It's not a board item, but just want to show you that donation for you to ask you to approve those receipts. And then the second one is from a contest with T-Mobile, Friday night contest, and Lamisa was a winner from that and is scheduled to receive a $5,000 check from T-Mobile that can be used. It's specific toward facility improvements with your athletic, since that was the nature of the contest. And so what had been identified in that was the speaker system at the stadium, which we use not only for athletics but for graduation as well. And so those are, we've got some quotes. Beginning of the year, we'll have to get an updated quote, but the cost of those speakers are going to be larger than the gift, but it would certainly go toward helping offset that expense. On the next page, you have the proposed amendments so just to explain that, you have at the top, you have the amendment to the revenue. And so there you have 3 items. One is the T-Mobile donation we just discussed. There's also the facilities revenue. So this is not just for the month of December, but from September to December, we have collected in revenue $2287.75 in facility rentals. And then in terms of revenue for playoff revenue, through December, we have received $45.71 in revenue for playoff. And so in order to pay custodians and all the costs associated with the use of those facilities, we're amending the revenue side to do that. In the past, those things were not accurately done in the ledger, and so this will be more visible for us to see, are we collecting enough in our facility rentals, in our playoff, to at least cover the cost that we have. And then on the bottom side there, you see the total for revenue to be amended with 11,859. And then below that, you have the expenditures and proposed amendments on the expenditure side. Function 11 would be for estimated cost for collegiate education. Function 36 would be to recognize that revenue. And we're recognizing revenue up above, but we're also adjusting the expenditure budget to make the payments for those, for the personnel and other costs for the playoff, as well as the second item there, which is the facility rentals and the cost for those as well. So we're realizing the revenue on one side, and we're now adding to the expenditure budget for those items on the expenditure side. In function 41, a couple of items. We did not budget for a superintendent search back in August and the months leading up to the budget adoption. So there's the budget amendment to realize that budget expenditure. There's also one for contracted services with Ms. Preston and Dr. Carr, consultants, Dr. Avey. Need to add anything to who those folks are?
Just to help us with the financial deep dive for revenue and expenditures and budget planning for this upcoming school year. And property tax analysis. They'll also help us with the acai offset, which is part of the template, which what he said earlier is exactly what happened. And so if we don't get that as close as we can actually be penalized. And so that's part of that template that we'll work through.
Then there's a proposed amendment for TASB studies to look at staffing needs for the district, as well as the use of different extra duty stipends, and doing a study to see how those compare to districts of similar size and financial makeup. And then the last one, under function 41, is adjusted budget for the superintendent travel. And so in addition to the required travel within the district, professional development travel and those things, to attend school activities, contests out of town, and those kinds of things as well. Plant operations function 51, again, that's just realizing the expenditure that we saw in the revenue up above. So knowing that we're going to use that T-Mobile donation toward those repairs and upgrade to the PA system. And debt services 71. We've talked about this previously, and that's that is to budget for the Apple lease payment for year 2. That was not budgeted in the original budget. Do you have any questions over the proposed budget amendments?
I guess we'll be able to get to action and we'll discuss that.
Then after that, we have the check registry there for the month of December. Not a lot of unusual expenditures. It's typical things. Of course, December you have some time there where students and staff are not active, and so you see a little bit of variance there in the latter half of the month. I will point on page 2, toward the bottom of the page, there's cafeteria supplies. It's around $27.90. So the insulated food bags that they use to move food for those bags we've had for a long time. We've had a lot of wear on them, and many of them are no longer usable. And so we went ahead and ordered new insulated bags for food service. And as she mentioned, we have a surplus, we have a fund balance in food service. We are not operating on a deficit currently with food service, and so but we don't see a lot of 240 in our check registry, so I just want to point that out too.
And also just to note, so the check register is online, but we are going to be updating, fixing, if you will, the website, just because you have to click through a lot of links to try to get to it. So we're going to try and streamline that. It is there, but it's kind of down a rabbit hole to get there.
Make it a little more friendly for you to find.
So we're going to get that updated.
Officer Boyd, are you still doing DARE?
Yes, sir. We've got a DARE supplies.
I saw
that was ordered a little bit late, and that is they didn't order any at the beginning of the year, so that I'm sure you had some leftover stock from last year to start the year.
I'm just giving him a hard time. Wake him up back there.
And then one more thing from the school spirit pump results that's actually not listed here. I think I don't know if I included it on last week's or if it'll be in this week's. We just need to make sure that we would like to do a presentation to include the board, so that'll be something that we need to talk about. We had thrown out the Denver City game, and so if that's something that you guys would like when they present the check to us, if that works for everybody, that's when we would like to do that. Is that good for you?
The only other item I had marked, I don't remember who brought this up, but it was brought to Mr. Ritchie and I's attention. We had not heard about it, but on page 5, in the middle of the page, you'll see there's an expenditure of $3,500 for Featherlight uprights, and those are the volleyball standards that were replaced. And I double checked because when I see uprights, a lot of times I think field goal post, and then we posted a 6-man playoff game over that. But I looked up that model number, and that's the volleyball standard.
On page 3, what's that behavior net? The 4,000.
The school psychologist.
Oh, okay.
That's Seminole on the contract too? We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, it being a set rate as opposed to that fluctuation. We set a monthly rate rather than it fluctuating based on their call-outs and visits to the campuses. If you don't have any other questions on the registry, and I apologize, I saw this afternoon as we were getting ready for the meeting. I didn't want to add an attachment to you last minute, but I'm happy to send you this information. We typically do our investment reports quarterly, but I'd like to just touch on the monthly. And so looking at our current checking balance is at $19,524. $19,524,000. That's a decrease from the month of November. We were at $20,219,000. But the reason for that is beginning in December, we have a 4-month stretch where we don't receive foundation payments. So December, we December, we had payments September, October, November. We won't get our next, we'll have ASF payments. Those are smaller, 55, 60,000. But we won't get another foundation payment until April. And so you'll see, as we discuss the report each month, and certainly when we look at the quarter, you'll see a decline in our checking balance because of that. That's all I have for you.
Dan?
Ready to
Let's
go.
go.
Promise I won't be near as long. So yeah, I'll just get into it real quick. First of all, since the Board of Appreciation, just want to say thank you all for everything y'all do. So just to kind of touch on a few things with attendance, just kind of monitoring attendance from when we first started the school year to this time in comparison from last year to this year, our attendance rates are up 1.34%. And then you can see those sub-bullets. I compared where we were at the last board meeting when I gave you the numbers. So we're down 0.14% from this time last year when I did the board meeting last month. And then for the 24-25, kind of the same thing. At this point last year, from one board meeting to the next, we're down 0.29%. North is also the attendance champs for the second month in a row at 93.95%. Scott kind of touched base on it. I have been tasked with kind of getting with TASB on the staffing and stipends analysis survey. I have my initial meeting with them set up for the 22nd of this month, so I can kind of get what they need so we can kind of get all that stuff. Our goal is to try to get that in a timely fashion so we can get all the appropriate data so we can make, of course, anything that we do, and Dr. Avey can attest to it, is very data driven. It's not done on a whim, so it's done in an appropriate manner. So we got that going on. A couple of completed initiatives that I've finished. I've submitted the active shooter annex. The EOP, which is our emergency operation plan, has been updated and corrected. And then I've also submitted the safety allotment survey has also been completed. The other thing that we got going on, we actually have our parent, we're going to teach Spanish-speaking parents English. That's actually coming up. We'll have our first night with that January 29th from 5:30 to 7. We have, I believe, 10 parents? About 9 families that are interested in doing that. So we want to see how it takes off, and if it grows, we'll expand it. Because right now we just kept it limited to Title III parents. So if we get more push for it, then of course we're going to expand on that. So we've already got materials to present. We're looking at doing that every other Thursday. And I think we're going to try to do it in the loft. Just want to provide parents an opportunity to, because a lot of parents, when they come to the school, they're kind of afraid to have those conversations because they don't know how to have the educational conversations with their teachers. So we kind of want to make it easier for them to come in and be more forefront in their kids' education. So that's something that we've got going on.
Is it in-house doing it, or
Yes, it's right there.
Okay.
She'll be teaching. She has experience. She'll be teaching the classes. So the money's staying in house. We're doing it here.
It's the same one every time.
Yes, sir. Of course, if it grows, then we'll add another teacher if you need. Because we did have a lot of educators on staff that were very interested in doing it. I think we're still working with National Honor Society and Student Council as far as providing daycare because they have to get their hours and stuff like that as far as those parents. So that's a pretty cool deal. Another thing that I've currently been working on, and I've already submitted a copy of it for Dr. Avey and for Ballman to review, is our non-certified teacher plan. Because HB, they gave us permission. If we chose to extend as far as our non-certified teachers, giving them additional years, we have to come up with a plan that, of course, they have to look at it and y'all have to approve as a board. So that's probably going to be coming down pretty soon. So that's something I've been working on, getting that taken care of. Of course, I'll have more information for that as I get that to y'all. Just upcoming, we just completed our final camera site walk with 5G security. We did that on the 12th. Once we get those quotes for the cameras, of course, myself, Dr. Avey, Scott, and Darla will be sitting down to see, which one's more beneficial, if it's something we can do this year or something that we may have to push on for next year. But like I was saying, at least they have our information, what we're looking at trying to accomplish at either South Middle School and as far as repairing our servers. So that's something that we're looking at. Another thing that we kind of initiated is TIA talks, because I will be assuming the TIA responsibilities. I know after midwinter, Dr. A.B. Ballman and myself will be getting together to develop a TIA plan, so we can post that on the website, because we want to be as clear and transparent to everybody, so they know exactly where the plan's at and what the plan entails, so teachers can pull that plan up and they can review it for themselves to make sure that they're following what they need to follow. I do have a substitute orientation scheduled for the 22nd. It'll be here at the boardroom. And then, of course, we have the TASA Midwinter Conference coming up from the 25th through the 28th. Told you it was going to be way shorter, and I just look handsome. And I do have some updates on the SRO vehicles, if that's okay.
please.
So I called Mr. Thompson, he's the guy there at Dana Security. So I asked him where we were at as far as the SRO vehicles. So he says they have 3 of them already ready to go. They're waiting, because what happened is they sent them visor lights, because they'd say all kinds of words that I didn't know what it meant, but visor lights for 2024, and we had 2025. So they were waiting. They already have the brackets and everything ready to go, so they're waiting for those to come in. He said that the projected time frame for those 3 vehicles will be the end of this month. Then they have 2 additional vehicles that have multiple components, with the visor lights being one. But then he called another one. It was called sound-off parts. So I'm assuming it's some of the sirens and things of that nature. He said a projected end time for those vehicles would be the end of February. I talked with Chief Peterson because we had some questions as far as the radios went. So when talking with Chief Peterson, what we decided was just to transfer the radios from our old SRO vehicles to the new vehicles, along with the dashboard cams, and the PD will be furnishing the cost of that, as far as what it's going to cost to install, take out, and install into our vehicles. So that's where we are with the SRO vehicles as of today.
So are they giving us the money for that, or they're just?
They're good. That Dana Security will build
It's plug and play.
They'll
They're pre-wired. They'll unplug the ones they have. The radio's just a faceplate.
No, but I mean they're paying for. I mean, like the.
It'll take them 60 minutes for the radio.
And they'll build a PD as far as that goes, as far as the installation of the installation of the dash cams and the radios. Because if we try to do that ourselves, those new radios are quite pricey. But that's all I have. If you have any questions, comments.
Thank you.
Are you going to present? Okay. I was. Can you do this? To start presenting? You first. I got to start up here.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
This one will take you forward back.
Okay, cool. Happy board members, come on. You guys are an amazing job. My kids truly appreciate you. We talk about y'all, and one of my kids did a special thing for you, so hopefully y'all, did they see the video already?
Not yet.
Yes, they did? Okay, cool beans. But yes, they think the world of you. And we talk about y'all. So when y'all come on our Dr. Seuss program day, I'm going to say these are those people that you guys have been talking about. Okay, so our enrollment numbers are 378. We're pretty steady. We had some unenrolled, and it kind of balanced out, basically. We have a lot of new students that come at the first because that's when people transition. But we're up to 378 because it kind of balanced out with those that left, those that came in new. But that's pretty much traditional. Our biggest class pretty much is still kinder at 106, second grade at 100, first grade 95, and pre-K 61. So pretty standard. Discipline referrals, as you can see, not a lot of discipline. I would say November and December was the highest months, probably around holidays when kids are antsy to get to holiday, and so you'll see that in those areas, but pretty much they stayed the course. Family engagement opportunities. We have quite a few coming up. We have a Valentine Ball coming up on the 12th, which is actually the day of the 100th day of school. So we're going to do a 100th day of school before that because our parents really love the Valentine Ball. And if you don't let them do those cute little dresses And those suits,
It's a must.
it's a must.
to.
It's a total must. So you guys are welcome to come out, but that's on the 12th, so it's going to be a big day for us for that. So we really want our parents to come in. And then our Dr. Seuss Day, which is tied to our literacy program. Remember, we have two, one in the fall, one in the spring. That is on March the 2nd, which is actually Dr. Seuss Day. So that's going to be tons of fun as well. So you'll see a lot of Canada hats, a lot of reading, a lot of books. And so that's a fun day if you guys want to come out and participate. That is always, you're going to want to see that one. And then a new one for this year is how we tie everything back to literacy because we have to have it, an Easter egg hunt. But you got to hunt sight words. And
that's cute.
sight words. You got to tie it back to something that's relevant to school. So the persons per grade level, they get the most sight words. When you're collecting those Easter eggs, they still have the baskets, which make it fun for kids, but the winners would get the bigger basket. And so that's always tons of fun for kids. So we're excited about that and getting our parents on the campus to help with that. Our kinder level, something I mentioned to you guys in December, that wonderful staff of Sandy and Carol, God bless their lives. They finished the kinders, and so this is the addition to what happened in December. You can see for those that are above, out of 101 students, you have 9 of them that are above, 10 on, they're right on point for where they should be. The biggest group is the approaches, which is 33, but that's because, this is their beginning. This is where you start reading. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that 33 moves, because they're right on point for where they should be. And then the 49 is the below. Okay, but out of that group, 25% of those kids didn't even attend pre-K. So you have to remember, out of your 101 kids who was actually tested, a quarter of them never actually saw the print, like they never got there. So we're still pushing it. That's why everything we do ties back to literacy and how we're going to move them forward and what we're going to do with parents to how to help them get to where they are. New initiatives for our campus. We haven't had PTA or PTO in years, so we thought it'd be a good idea to start one. So that's another way for parents to get on the campus, help us help their children, and see the things that we're doing. So we're starting the focus group now. So as soon as I sent a parent square out last week, immediately within 4 minutes, I started seeing threads and feeds on it, and then parents emailing me directly saying, I want to help you do that. I got some people for you. So with that being said, we're going to start it and we're going to push it forward and see just how far we can go with it. So that's our new initiative for the spring. And then any questions? See, my 7 slides are quick. Quick and easy. Any questions? We want to see you.
No, I'm excited for the reading levels. I'm excited to see even maybe like some second grade next time. I would be interested to see the growth.
Yes.
Before they move on,
Absolutely.
That would be fun. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I didn't do a presentation this time, so just a quick handout for you. So this is just brief updates for North Elementary. Our enrollment currently is a total of 292. We have 95 third graders, 97 fourth graders, and 100 fifth graders. And we talk about mobility. We have high mobility. So just in the last 2 weeks, we have had 4 students withdraw, 3 moved, 1 went to homeschool, and we've had 5 students enter. So that change is welcome to have those come. We're always sad to see those that leave, but we know that that's going to happen. Some of them are returning kids that have left and come back to us, so we're happy to see them again. This is our weekly attendance closeout literally today. So for this week, we had 94.84% attendance overall. Our campus winners were third grade with 95.99%, and followed by fourth with 95.06%, and then fifth grade with 93.57%. So all numbers looking good there. Just in general, our reset for the second semester focused on resetting our students and our staff and ourselves with behavioral and instructional expectations. So that began at the beginning of the semester. That's also one of the reasons we celebrated Ms. Bolton. She helped us look at non-negotiables across the board and get our grade levels on track together to be able to come in and start fresh and start well, resetting those students. We've adjusted our small groups for intervention and remediation. We used our middle of year data, which I believe we are going to look at data here coming up in future meetings. And then our risk meetings before the holidays as well. And so we've restructured some of those groups, moved them around. And then, of course, this week we had PLCs, which during those we review our upcoming essential standards. We look at student data, student work, look at pacing. Are we on track? What does that look like with upcoming calendar events? And, of course, any other additional student-teacher needs. And then we have some upcoming events, too, some things to celebrate. You may have seen that last night we had a meeting at the middle school for Girl Scouts. They are trying to get a new group, a new troop. It had a good turnout. I think we had about 10 young ladies and their families. And Mary Elizabeth was there, too. So it was a great turnout. I think easily they already had a troop formed before they left last night. And when I saw my kiddos today, it was great because they were like, we saw you at Girl Scouts. And I was like, I saw you at Girl Scouts. They were super excited.
Do they know they have the Girl Scout building still?
The hut, they did discuss that, and they talked about the lady that was there. She's out of Lubbock, but she said usually they turn them over to the city, but when they reestablish, she said they would look into it further to see if they could get it donated back to the troop. But
I don't think it's been done. Last I talked with the city manager, we were talking about it. We're talking about property. So they hadn't been done yet because they were looking at doing it. So
maybe in the like
you might touch that on.
Yeah, I sure will. Thank you for letting me know that. Another exciting opportunity that we have some great excitement around is we have a cooking club coming up at the last week of this month. And Aramark has joined, they have 2 professional chefs coming. It's an after-school program, and they're going to take about 15 of our students, and then they're going to teach them like specific home cooking skills, and then they have some actual menu items. And so each day after school, they're going to get to stay and learn something, and at the end of the week, they'll graduate and get an apron and a chef hat and all of that. So we've had some good response there. And then we've kind of tossed around the spelling bee for a couple of years and decided to jump in and do that this year. So we had a lot of teachers that were like, absolutely, sign us up. And so we will have our spelling bee on February 17th. We're getting that information out. Sent it yesterday at home with students. And then they'll be able to pick up those lists and start working on those words immediately to prepare for our campus-wide spelling bee on February 17th. And then we also, too, will have our Valentine's dance and celebrate the 100th day of school. Why not just add them together on February 12th? So that's all that we've got going on at North. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
And on the back's a reflection of our year, just if you want to read that, the first semester. So our current enrollment is 319, and it's gone down from last year. Last year at this time we were 338. Our ADA, it's been pretty consistent at 93%. So we had one where we were 94, I think it's only one. And then our 6th grade enrollment's 92.84%, 7th grade's 93.53, and 8th grade is 92.75. And then you can see this year we're at 94.45 with 6th grade, 93.97 with 7th, and then 8th grade is 94.4%. Our discipline, I just added that in there. This is exactly as of today compared to last year. We had 55 offenses, and last year at this time it was 94. We started as zeros aren't permitted at middle school, and so what that is if a student gets a 0, they'll be assigned to O-room zap time, And during that time, we'll work with students to get the work completed so that they're getting grades, because learning's not optional at Lamesa Middle School. So we're going to do whatever it takes to get them on board. It's working, and parents have been very supportive with it. So I'm excited to get the kids excited about their learning and doing what they need to do. We have the All-Region Band concert coming up in Lubbock. It's going to be on January 25th. It's an all-day event. We're not sure where it's at exactly yet. That's to be determined in the start time. So once I know that, I'll let y'all know. We have cheerleading sign-ups and mascot sign-ups coming up. That's always a fun time of year. That's coming up real soon. Our basketball season, it's in full swing, and our teams have been just really, really good this year. So they actually went to play at the Andrews tournament. Today the girls, they won 47-38, and our boys are in Seminole, and they won 58-10, so they're killing it. At the bottom, that's just some pictures from first semester. We had like a rock, paper, scissors challenge. And then we took a picture, the other picture, it's Coach Hernandez when our friend came back from being in the hospital for quite a while. And then we had a party around Christmas. That's where these pictures come in. And we celebrated IXL successes. And then we had, our fun little dress-up days, dressed like a teacher. And then the gingerbread, they heard how great Lamesa Middle School is, so they decided to come check us out. And just little different things. And then we had a family, they donated all of our binders for Avid. And then we had to put a picture of Mr. Zamudio down there. And then y'all can read the back, because if I read it, I'll get emotional. But it's good. We've had good successes, so it's a good year. And thank y'all for all y'all do. Y'all work hard, and you take very good care of us, and I'm very appreciative of you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
All right. Thank you all. On behalf of Lamesa High School, thank you. Can you take one pass? Appreciate it.
We critique. Go back in that little room and critique.
So, like on behalf of Lamesa High School, thank you for everything that you guys do. Appreciate y'all. And shout out to Miss Douglas. She made this sopapilla cheesecake.
So
good.
good.
Very good.
Yes, it is good. She kills the sopapilla cheesecake. She's, I affectionately call her like my mom at the high school. Her birthday was last month. I got her cards, and I actually signed a thanks, Mom. Anyways, and then the guys, Mr. Hogg, obviously our welding teacher, you guys know the job that he does, and Joe Gonzalez, Austin Costas. I know Melissa, you kind of know Austin a little bit. But those are the kind of guys that'll, like, if you were to ask them to run through that wall, they would do it. Like, Mr. Hogg has stepped up so many. I've asked him to do so many things this year, and he does it, and he kills it, and he does a great job. So those guys are awesome. As far as enrollment, we're at 396, so we gained 2 bodies since the last time I was up here. 3 kids at the academy. For the year, we're sitting at 94.32%. TSI compliance, the second 9 weeks, we had 37 students become TSI compliant. I don't want you to quote me, but I'm pretty sure we only have 8 kids between the junior and senior class that aren't CCMR compliant. So it's improved a lot from the years past. December retesting, we just had that. The numbers on the left is the students that are going to have to retake the test come the spring. One thing to note from those numbers is just how proud I am of our kids in algebra. To have 20 out of 28 pass is impressive. I think it's a credit to Mr. Carrion. We worked with them. I know we lost him those last couple weeks to the middle school, but that guy's a teaching machine. And then dual credit, we had 144 dual credit classes, not hours, in the fall semester completed. We just finished our middle year math, literally today, finishing up, getting some of the kids, the makeup testers and everything. So I'm sure when we meet back here in February, we can go over all that data. Girls basketball is ranked 9th in the state. That's pretty impressive. They're crushing it. Boys basketball has a winning record. Also, I think both teams are respectively sitting in second in district as we sit right now. So they're good. Cheerleading is competing right now at the UIL competition. All region band auditions were held today. So both of those competitions I haven't really gotten updates on yet, but they're both competing as we speak. So upcoming events, there's a million of them. I probably missed some too. So, we got spring tennis firing up this weekend. We got baseball tryouts. The seniors are getting their cap and gowns ordered. Powerlifting, softball's already started practicing. They have their first scrimmage on the 24th. BPAs, we had that big BPA contest on January 28th. That's a big one. There's a lot of kids and a lot of schools show up, which is awesome because we get to show off our awesome CTE facilities. And I get to judge the interviewing, so it's going to be a good time for kids. And we got our first golf tournament at the end of January. Baseball's firing up. They got their alumni game. We got seniors getting a South Plains College preview. So we got the softball alumni game, district skills competition towards the end of February, and we have a tech representative coming in to talk to the seniors at the end of February. Also, I am sure that I left something off, and if I think of it, I'll let you know. That is all I have. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I don't see the pancakes up around here.
Yeah.
It's coming up pretty soon, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know when the pancake thing is. That's a good point. 31st. There you go. After high school, come and get some pancakes.
We already got it. So, thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all for everything you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, thank you guys.
Dr. Avey?
I want to start off by saying on behalf of our entire team, every campus, everybody that works in our system, our community, even though I haven't been here very long, we very much appreciate the work that you guys do. We recognize that you do not get paid for all these hours and all of this grief sometimes that you get, but all of the reward and benefit you also get to take a little bit of ownership for making some tough decisions and seeing some great results. So I appreciate everything that you do. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. You have some great gifts that were bestowed upon you from the administrators and from our office. So please take a look at those. I think that you will like those quite a bit. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
As a part of that, I don't take any ownership for this, and I won't take for almost anything because we have an amazing team. But I'm going to say that Frankie compiled all of this, maybe with help of other people, but probably mostly himself. And we have a video that we'd like to share with you guys, and we will post it online. And so you might get some tissue out.
Please play basketball.
Hi, I'm Zariah. This is our law enforcement program with Ms. Martinez, reaching out to the school board members to show our appreciation for everything y'all do.
Without y'all, nothing we do would be possible, such as traveling to district competitions and doing just fun things that help our program.
We appreciate all your support with this, helping our futures and help giving back to the school.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you for everything you have done for us. We truly appreciate y'all, and just so y'all know, everything y'all do doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you for helping us learn and grow. You make our school great. Thank you for all you've done. You always put kids first, and we appreciate it. You are education superheroes. Thank you for our wonderful teachers and staff. Your hard work helps us reach our dreams.
I'm Mike Moran. Thank you for everything you do for us, the welding program, the barber program. I appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Happy School Board Appreciation Week. We appreciate all that you do for our school, and thank you very much.
Thank you! From Coach Lucio's class, my name is Alexander Harder.
I'm Danny Hernandez.
I'm Josiah Lopez.
Thank you to our school board members for your dedication, leadership, and continued support to our schools. Your commitment makes a positive difference for our teachers and students every day. We truly appreciate all that you do.
Hey, thanks for everything you guys do for us and all your support. It means a lot.
Thank you for everything you do.
Miss Benitez's math class says.
Just stay up. Thank y'all for everything y'all do for us.
Good morning. All of us here at La Mesa Middle School really appreciate the hard work and dedication that all of you as school board members put into our district and our students and staff each day. We really appreciate all the love and support that you give us, and we love and thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there, it's Miss Shaw. I just wanted to say happy School Board Appreciation Week. I also wanted to take the time to say thank you for all of your efforts, all of your hard work, and all the support that you give us throughout the year. We truly see everything that you put into our district, and without you guys, what we are able to do here on our campuses would not be possible. Thank you so much, and have a great week. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
3.
For all that you do for La Mesa ISD, we are blessed to have you guys.
And thank you for supporting us to help better the students' lives every day. Thank you.
Thank you, school board members. We are so blessed to have you. We have the best in La Mesa. Thank you.
Thank you, school board, for everything you do.
Hey guys, I just wanted to take a moment to really say thank you, and that we here at the middle school appreciate everything that you do for us. And from the bottom of our heart, thank y'all for taking the time and the effort to really put forth thought and effort into making La Mesa ISD the best that we can be. So thank y'all so much for all that you do.
Thank you for everything you do for La Mesa ISD.
Thank you, school board.
Hi, La Mesa School Board. I'm Julia.
And I'm Maria.
And we would like to thank you for the cosmetology and athletic courses that we are able to take.
We are also thankful for everything you do for La Mesa ISD. We hope you have an amazing week full of blessings.
Hello, school board. Thank you so much for everything you do for us teachers. We appreciate you.
Thank you, school board members, for being school board members.
You guys for everything.
Hi, this is Tina Garza. Just want to say thank you to our school board members for your dedication, leadership, and countless hours of hard work. Your commitment to our students, staff, and community does not go unnoticed. We truly appreciate your service and dedication to our students and our families. Your hard work makes a real difference for our schools and students. Your efforts help create positive learning environments where students and teachers can thrive. So thank you so much for all that you do.
Muchas gracias, School Board, por apoyarnos a todos nosotros de la escuela, de la Mesa High School.
Thank you, school board, for everything you do, the countless hours you put in, and the sacrifices you make for us. From me to you, I just want to say thank you.
My name is Alicia. My name is Alicia.
Thank you, school board. Thank you for everything you do.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Mujica, and I want to say thank you to the Mesa School Board for everything that you've done for us behind the scenes, and we appreciate it so much.
Hi, my name is Junior Hernandez. Thank you for all the opportunities you have given us to do academically and extracurricularly.
Hi, my name is Lucy, and I want to thank you for all the opportunities you've given us as students.
My name is Asia. Thank y'all for all the countless hours y'all put in to make it possible for us to be able to do stuff like this.
Thank you for everything you do for our school.
Thank y'all for everything y'all do, and a special thanks to April from me and Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, school board, for everything you do. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for everything you do.
Consistent and take care.
Sarah? Hey?
We appreciate everything.
We appreciate for advice on the floor for speaking today.
Guys?
Thank you. Thank you.
We appreciate you.
I'm Madison. I'm Cameron. We just want to thank the school for everything they do. One cosmetology, and we like the opportunity we have right now to be doing what we're doing.
Yes, thank you, school board. We are so grateful for everything that you do for us, and we hope that y'all have an amazing week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
So I just want to take a moment to say thank you for everything that you do as we celebrate School Board Appreciation. I want to shout out to April, Rebecca, Melissa, Ernest, Kevin, Ron, Cindy. Thank you for everything that you do for Lamesa ISD, especially for Lamesa Middle School. Ooh, middle school. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Frankie, for putting that together. It was great.
Good job, Frankie. Thank you.
Okay. I will try to rock and roll on curriculum instruction. Basically, you guys saw the school report cards that will be released. They are available, but we will be sending out information if we haven't already for parent notification. These will go on our website. And we just included a 3-year history. There were 2 years combined because because of the litigation, we went ahead and just provided all 3 years for you. So you have those. Do you guys have any questions about the school report cards? And just as a highlight note, we are fast and furiously working on plans to make sure we're addressing any of our areas of deficit. So just bear with us as we work as a leadership team and with principals to figure out our next steps. So, okay, legislative overview. I have a few things regarding Senate Bill 11. This is a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious texts. The board, we're getting a little bit of conflicting information. We're not sure if you have to go on record to either adopt the resolution if you do and you want to do that, or if you have to go on record and say you don't want to do that, if that requires a separate resolution. It's not due until March, so we're getting clarification from TASB. But what the resolution is if you would like to adopt a specific policy to require a period of prayer, you can adopt that as a board. However, there are logistical requirements that come along with that for anyone who wishes not to participate, so we have to find alternate accommodations for all of those people. It would be my recommendation, and of course I'm just making a recommendation to the board, that because we already have a moment of silence and we don't want to have to interrupt instruction any longer, I would suggest not adopting the resolution, but we will get you the information that you need to make that informed decision. We were at TAS study group yesterday, and just a show of hands, there was not a single district in Region 17 that the board was adopting a period of prayer. So just giving that to you, and it's primarily for logistical reasons because we have to shuffle kids and adults to other locations. But we'll get you both the resolutions if the second one is required. Also, TASB came out today. They have a grassroots meeting for any of you who are interested. I will do my best to attend. It is for Region 17. It is in Lubbock, February 25th from 6 to 8:30. If you are interested in attending that, let me know. It's basically to determine the top 10 legislative priorities for our region. And they will elect 4 representatives to be on their Legislative Advocacy Council, and then there will be additional meetings in April and June and at SLI. So just know if you would like to join that, I will make sure I'm going to that if it fits on our schedule. And then that's really important for us to make sure that our region, and especially our rural schools, because we're mostly rural in Region 17, are represented and somebody would like to join me with that, or 2 or 3 of y'all, we'd love to go as a team. The next thing is governance camp that TASB does. I know that not the entire board went to the TASB convention. This is another opportunity for required training that if you would like to attend, it's March 4th through the 7th. And it is in Galveston. There is also SLI they will have 2 sessions of SLI, which is Summer Leadership Institute. One will be in Fort Worth and one will be in San Antonio. Those dates, the Fort Worth is June 17th through the 20th, and San Antonio is June 10th through the 14th. And then the TASA-TASB convention, the large convention, is still going to be in Houston, and that is October 8th through the 10th. So if any of you are interested in that, let me know, and we'll get you signed up. And then the last thing is, I was asked about when if we were planning on doing a TASB policy update to just look at our policy. And I was also asked if I had ever done one. And my previous district, I said, no, I have not. And they recommend every 5 to 8 years that the entire leadership team gets together and you go through your entire policy manual to see if anything needs to be updated, addressed, or changed by the board. It takes several weeks for the leadership team, and then once we go through that, we present it to you. The last time it was done in La Mesa was in 2012. So it's been a minute. So I told them, I know for a fact we have not budgeted for this year, but it might be something we look at doing starting in the fall of next year. Pardon me. Okay. That's all for the legislative update. The next thing is to discuss the joint election agreement between La Mesa ISD and the City of La Mesa for May 2nd for the Board of Trustee election for 2 at-large positions. Here's a resolution. I believe, April, I think you have to read the resolution. So I'm going to pass that over. And that's something that we will need to vote on later. And so do you want to read it now or when we vote on it? Okay. All right. The next thing is discussion of professional services contract for a school district employee. And this is so that we can have a school district employee provide service, get paid for services they're providing through the Region Center. This is part of the new legislation. Teachers are allowed to do it, but it still does, and other staff are still allowed to do it, but it still does require board approval. And so this is for, sorry, I can't read the name on here.
It'll be Albert.
Albert Martinez. I'm so sorry. And so we will have to vote on this. It's for school. It's for school bus driver training. So, any questions about that?
Is that just a one-time fee, or?
Well, it's not a fee for us. He will get paid for his services and through the service center. And because of the new legislation,
Gotcha.
School district employees can't work for other district entities and be paid, and so you have to get approval from the board. But it only pertains to some employees that are allowed to do it. It does not apply to principals or superintendents. So that we cannot serve in those. We cannot do those things, but other people can.
So reading this, he'll be able to provide training to say Brownsville, Tahoka, Laredo, if they want to put on a class for bus drivers. Is that correct?
I'm not sure who he currently provides it for, but I would assume so.
But don't you have to have somebody from another district to hold the class out, or am I wrong?
From what I understand, I don't. If I'm just training my people, what they were saying is they will not pay, but it doesn't really matter if I can train my people. But if we have people from the outside, then we can charge a fee. But yes, any coach, any teacher, anywhere from any school district, I'll be training them here to get certified.
Okay, that's all right.
We can ask Holly in a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any other questions? I'm sorry, I think that was a great question. But any other questions?
But Region 17 pays that, right?
Yes. Because he's getting paid from another educational entity, we have to get approval from the board. So, okay. Facilities, I want to talk about really quickly the option for the Cantera poll. You saw that in the update. We have 2 options that I just need to know which direction you guys would like the attorneys to draft. Cantera is the company that put the pole tower up, but it is my understanding that La Mesa built property close to or around or near the pole, so when the company came out to take, after the litigation, they were required to come and take the pole down. But because of the built-up infrastructure around it, they run the risk of damaging district property. So we were proposed with 2 options, and so you guys get to decide which route you want to go, and what that will determine what resolution is drafted for the next meeting. So we can leave the pole. We have to leave the pole up and either transfer ownership to the district, and we would add it to our liability policy, or we allow Cantera to maintain it, maintain the liability on it. However, should anything happen with Cantera, go out of business, go bankrupt, whatever, we're still stuck with the pole. So you'll just need to make a recommendation to me as to which direction you would like to go as far as the attorney's drafting the resolution for you guys to vote on.
So that's the pole on the north side of the
Yes.
gym in the high school that we talked for over an hour with
Yes.
Attorney Backus.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. And we voted to join other schools because they had the same problem. So now they're saying it's pretty much too expensive or liability to take it down?
No, the district, after the pole was constructed, the district has property that built up after that, is my understanding, and they run the risk of damaging district property if they take it down.
It didn't build around it. That's the old gym.
Yeah.
Back to the old gear.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I mean, when they put it up, it was already there. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like that we built it. They put it there with the infrastructure already being there.
Okay.
You know, so.
Yeah, I know it's deep, they said.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of us even knew it was there until it brought up. So, I guess my question is it going to become a hazard? Or can we ever use it for something? I guess that's what we asked.
I think they said no, right?
No,
there's
nothing
nothing
you
we
can
can
do
use it
with
for. It's basically just there.
There are opportunities with other companies. Diamond is one of those where you can utilize your own, or they'll even come out and utilize your existing poles to put up cell phone signalers. I don't know how else to define it, but they lease it out and then they give a percentage of the proceeds back to the district. It was something that I looked at in my previous district, but I can certainly get information as to whether or not we would even be a district that could do that. But I don't know what else you could use it for. But my recommendation would be to transfer the ownership over to the district. And I can't imagine it would add much, if anything, to our liability policy. But we can check into that. But that would be, you want me to check that out as the option?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And board training, team of 8, and evaluating and improving student outcomes. So I pulled, I'm going to go back before that. The contract for the sale of the bus barn has been signed by the new buyer. And there was one change. The district will obtain the survey, but the buyer will pay for it. So that way we're in control of the survey. We have a signature from him. We need a signature from the board president on that. And then we will get the earnest money will go directly to the escrow company. And if you are ready to sign that agreement, it's drafted and ready to go. Any questions about that? Okay. School board, evaluating and improving student outcomes, and team of 8. We're required as a team to have team of 8 training every year annually, and that is something that needs to happen. Each of you were given a copy of your what TASB is showing as your training. However, I can say that there are substantial records for some of you and some for others that if you will just make sure you get with Burnett to go through, because you may not have been checked off for credit because as we were looking through files, so she can go through individually with you and she can get that corrected. In April, before school board election, we have to report who has completed what training. So just know that I wanted to give that to you in advance. But team of 8 training is required annually, but evaluating and improving student outcomes is required once every 2 years. The last time this board had their team, the evaluating and improving student outcomes, was in October of 2024. So we have the option to do it combined. If you do the evaluating and improving student outcomes training, it will also count for your team of 8. The service center can provide that here, or my understanding is there's no fee if we go as a team to the service center but we'd have to have the whole team present. So we need to make a decision if those dates that I gave you in the weekly update are available, if you guys want to do that, or if you would prefer for us to have the service center come out here. And so that's what that is. Any questions on that? We can talk about it in a minute. And that's all I have on my items, other than the next board meeting is February 19th, and then we're going to go into executive session. Any other questions for me?
But when do you need to know on the Team of 8 training?
Well, when we come out of executive session, we can have more discussion about it so that we can solidify and I can fill out the form and we can go, if we're going to go to the service center.
So are we going to go into executive session
Yes.
before we go into action items?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we will now go into executive session. It is 8:14. We'll now go to...
Ernest isn't back yet.
Yeah, he's not here, man. Well, it's still 9:52. Still time. Get here. It's still here. We're now going to the board action items, but we'll wait for Ernest.
That's my bedtime.
Mine too.
Dude, I've been on a show. I can not been asleep. A few hours of sleep.
New motor, the one you brought with you?
Huh?
New motor, the one you brought with you?
No, it's his. Is it getting a gift from the
I haven't seen everything.
All right, let's go as we go. Deliberation and possible action to approve the regular board meeting minutes of December 11th, 2025.
Make a motion to. Second.
All in favor? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Deliberation and possible action to approve the financial report.
Second.
No, we haven't had that one. No. We need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Deliberation and possible action to order a general election for the election of 2 at-large trustees to be held on May 2nd, 2026.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Deliberation and possible action to approve the joint election agreement with the city of Lamesa.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Deliberation and possible action to approve the professional service contract for Albert Martinez Jr.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Who's seconded?
Cindy.
Cindy,
Give me this time.
Maybe I'll take Cindy.
Take one. Cindy or Ron? All in favor? Wait. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Don't you have to abstain? You? April?
You have to abstain.
Okay, abstain.
6-1.
He wasn't here anyway. Put that on the record. So whatever. I'm just kidding. Okay. Before we move to this one, I just want to ask a clarifying question. Are all these amendments coming out of the fund balance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, they're as stated.
Okay. Deliberation and possible action to approve the budget amendments as presented.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
Kentera? 9?
What is it? Oh, dang. You know what? I'm sorry. Deliberation and possible action on Cantera poll. My bad.
What direction, what motion are you wanting to
What did
make?
you recommend?
I recommend that we transfer the ownership to the district.
Okay. Did we make a motion for that?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Deliberation and possible action to approve payment to Dr. Avey for pre-employment services.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
Okay,